Well, hello and welcome to Your Business Website, Creation, Content, and Best Practices. Your website is the digital face of your business, but for many small businesses and nonprofits, publishing and optimizing a website can be a daunting task. So today our goal is to cover some of the basics of how to organize a professional and functional website, along with some best practices from our 23 years in marketing and web development. I'm Dixie. My co-host is Katrine, and we're from Easy Marketing. We have a lot of great information to share with you today, and we hope to get to as many questions as we can. So use that chat box to ask them while we're talking. But if we missed your question, or often you'll think of something later, here's our contact information. We'd love to hear from you. And we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we post monthly videos similar to this on helpful marketing topics, everything from websites, social media, email marketing, lots of different topics for small businesses. We are located in Northeast Florida, and we specialize, of course, in website design, but also email marketing, social media management, and we do graphic design as well for our clients. So, once upon a time, when you started a business, there were certain signals to prospective customers that really say that your business is legitimate. So, maybe having a small storefront or even something like a business card would let people know, hey, this is a legitimate business. Today, what most people are looking for is an online presence. It's not only appreciated, but really expected. First thing people are going to do when they hear about your business is Google you. And if they are searching online for your business and they can't find it, they start to wonder, does your business even exist? We saw this a lot during the height of COVID. People would Google business to see, are they still around anymore? So an online presence is very important, even for the legitimacy of your business. Today, we're going to be talking about some website basics, also the 5 essential web pages that your website needs to have, and some different platform options, different ways that you could publish your site based on the needs of your business. So first up is Katrine. She's the CEO of Easy Marketing, and she's going to talk to us about the first things first, the basics of buying a domain name and getting your website registered. Katrine?
Yeah, so we are going to talk about just one concept here, or a couple. The first one is domain name. Sometimes we call domain name, sometimes we call it the URL. That is the one that is usually up to, or always up to the left when you are browsing around on the internet. And you need to purchase your own domain name. And you can do that. There are lots of places out there. I happen to use GoDaddy, and it's well known and it's priced well, but you can do it anywhere. But what I want to make sure is that you own it. You set it up, you own it, and you have your credit card on file with that. And make sure that you own it and you don't have anyone else setting it up for you and they own the right to it. And with a domain name is just a name until you can do really 2 things with it. And if we can go to the next slide, the first one is that if you create a website, the website has to be hosted somewhere. So it's hosted on a server, and you just need to link the domain name to where the website is hosted, and that's how the world can see it. They don't need to be on the same platform. Just because you have the domain name, for example, at GoDaddy, you might build your website on Wix or one of the other do-it-yourself websites. They still need to connect. In fact, if you think you're going to if you're going to grow and become a bigger company, I highly recommend you get the domain name in a place where it is standing by itself and not connected to that platform. And the second part with a domain name is that it is also going to be part of your email address. So you should not use, as a company, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, and so on. Those are free email services that doesn't show a professional side of you. You should purchase an email service, and it's usually Microsoft or with Google. And you're going to have your name, if you look down to the left, your name and your domain name. So
Can I
that's
ask a
very
question?
important. Oh,
Hi,
okay.
Katrina.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. We're gonna take all questions through the chat box. So if you don't mind typing that in, then we will take all of your questions kind of throughout the presentation at the end.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, in the other webinars we usually have, we talk about a lot about email marketing, and we are using Constant Contact. And now sending up bulk emails, mass emails. And nowadays it's more and more important that you do that from your domain name, and you can prove that it is your name. So yes.
Great, thank you so much, Katrine. So once you have your domain name purchased and then you're hosting it somewhere, then it's time to start working on the content of your site. So a lot of people want to jump right in and say, how is it going to look? And is it going to be flashy? But really, we need to talk about content. And websites can range from very simple to complex multimedia experiences. But no matter what your business, there are really 5 essential web pages that every good site needs. So before you start planning out your pages, we want you to start with the end in mind, and that is your call to action. So we don't want you to have the idea that your website is just going to be a place that people can sort of browse around and get information. You want to have the idea that you want them to do something when they come to your website. So if you're selling products or services, hopefully it's to place an order. Or if you're a realtor, it might be to schedule a meeting or schedule a consultation. It might be that you have them sign up for to make a donation or to volunteer, sign up for your newsletter. These are all different kinds of call to action, but your website should have at least one, if not more than one. So keep that in mind when you start to build the content of your website. What do I want people to do when they come here? So then you can start thinking about the 5 essential pages that almost every website is going to have: a homepage, about, products or services, depending on your business, a blog or a news page. Those are the same, doesn't matter what you call them, and then a contact page. So let's look at each of these in detail. So the most important page on your website is going to be your homepage. Think of this as your digital lobby, the place that every customer is going to pass through to interact with your business. And it's going to make an immediate first impression. When people see your homepage, you have less than 10 seconds for them to decide if your content is relevant, reliable, and if it meets their needs. If not, they'll leave your website without viewing any other pages or taking any action. We call that a bounce. So what we want to do is reduce those bounces. We want to keep people on your site long enough for them to learn about you and ultimately take some sort of action, such as buying something, make an appointment, calling, signing up, whatever. So let's talk about those bounces. What makes people leave your website without looking around and doing anything? First is low quality web design. So if you've slapped together some sort of like DIY Wix or Weebly situation and it shows, people might tend to equate that with the quality of your goods and services and make a speedy exit. The next thing that causes bounces is a mismatch between keywords and content. So if people came into your website looking for something and got another, they're out of there. So you need to make it super clear right on the homepage exactly what it is you do. We often tell clients that no one wants to do a scavenger hunt around your website. Hit them right with the most important things right up front, particularly at the top of the whole homepage. So if you think of your website like a printed newspaper, the front page, the top part above the fold, that's the most valuable real estate on your website. And so you want to make the most of it. Next is slow loading speed. There's a bunch of different factors that go into that. But you want to make sure that you're not using images or video that are too large, that make it very slow for your site to load. And so, because people, when they're coming to your website, they're expecting things to pop up almost instantly. They have no patience, I promise. So you don't want it to drag like it's on dial-up. And last is poor mobile optimization. So regardless of where you choose to do this website, you want to make sure that it is optimized for mobile, meaning that the different elements on the screen are going to rearrange themselves based on how people are viewing it. So if they're viewing it on a desktop screen, which is wider, they might be side to side. If they view your same website on their mobile, typically those things will stack one on top of another. So if they're not doing that, it will cause people to have to like scroll this way, which we don't want to do. That's poor mobile optimization. So if you look at the example here, you're going to see our homepage. We're showing you both the desktop and the mobile view. And so you can see them really nicely on either kind of device. So next after that is going to be your about page. All websites need some sort of about page. And this page really presents an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to potential customers, establish credibility, and to foster trust. So here is an example from a client website we created. A good about page briefly tells what you do and why. So it's important to share succinctly maybe the mission of your company, the types of products and services that you offer, and sometimes a little backstory on how or why it was founded, if that adds to your credibility. Next is the product page. So this is where you're going to showcase what it is that you're offering. So if you just have one product, you could have many different views of it. You know, images are very important. We often encourage you to have pictures not only of the product, but of people happily enjoying it, or your services in use. If you have many different types of products or different variations, we encourage you to categorize them. So we don't want to go to your product page and see 47 things. I'd rather see like 4 buckets of things, different categories of things that you provide, and then it can click on those and get the detailed products underneath. So you see an example here from one of our construction clients where we show about kind of the different buckets, the different categories of services that they provide on this page. Next is either a news or blog page. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's somewhere that people can go to find what's new, what's happening with your business. This is really important for SEO, or search engine optimization, because what happens is when Google and other sites are crawling the internet and they're looking at your site, they want to see how old is it? How fresh is it? So if you created your website 2 years ago and you haven't made a change to it since, that's very stale content and it's going to make you go down in the ratings. So an easy way to kind of freshen it up is to put something on your news and blog page. And we say blog, I don't mean like a travel blog from your vacation last summer, but I mean something that's happening with your business. So this is a great place to post, new products, what's happening. You can post about the employees in your business. You have a new employee or somebody's been here for a year. Congratulations. Maybe you had an intern over the summer and they're going off to college. We can post about them. Anything new, different. You can talk about things that are going on in your industry. So, new trends and that kind of stuff. Any of those are certainly applicable for the blog or news page and are going to not only provide useful content for people coming to your website, but help your search engine optimization as well.
And press releases is a typical thing you can have. If you are that kind of company that put out press releases, or there are, you already said it, but it could be, if you're a tax attorney, for example, you can write and you can send people to new rules on IRS pages and so on. So there is lots you can add to this without having to work too hard on them.
Absolutely. And Katrina, I see people are starting to ask questions. I have a couple more things to cover in this section, and then we'll take a pause and get to some of those. So if you want to kind of start looking, queuing those up, I promise we'll get to your questions in one moment. The next page I want you to think about is a contact us page. Ideally, your website is going to meet your customers' needs and answer as many of their questions as possible because you've written good content. But there has to be a way for them to get in touch with a human. If you don't have contact information, your site is immediately suspicious. So at a minimum, we need like a mailing address. Certainly if you have a brick and mortar where people can come visit, you'll provide a physical address as well in a map. Also a phone number, or at the very least, an email address where people can reach you with their questions. We also highly recommend a contact form. So this is typically a plugin. Think of it like an app that you put to your website where it's going to pop up and people can provide just a bit of information, maybe just their first name and their email address, so that you can get back with them. So this can be either a way for them to ask questions, or it can also be a way for them to subscribe to, say, your email newsletter, for example, or it's subscribe to text if you're going to be sending out text. So contact forms, a great thing to have on your website. If you have a very small company, like the example here, where customers are going to be interacting personally with you or your staff, so think like real estate, insurance offices, doctor's offices, these sort of thing. The contact page is also a great place to showcase a bit of information about key personnel. So you can put their name, a little bio, those sorts of things on the contact page. So that's a lot of stuff and easy to get overwhelmed. So the way we encourage you to do this is just get yourself a simple Word document. Put one page for each of the different 5 essential pages, and then start arranging your content. What is going to be my call to action? What kind of image am I going to have on each page? What kind of information? Because regardless of whether you decide to sort of DIY build a website or hire a web designer, either way, it will be really helpful to have all your content, all your information organized before you get started. That way you don't get in the weeds of what it looks like, but you know what it's going to say. All right, and with that, I think let's take a pause for a moment, Katrine, and look at a couple of these questions before we start talking about platform options.
Yes, Heidi asked about getting the domain name. If you know where you're going to build, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples of where you can get the do-it-yourself website builders. Yes, it helps if you have them at the same place, but I highly recommend that you pick one of the bigger companies out there, and that you do have total control over your domain name. That's why I said I know the other one is a little bit less expensive, but the prices usually end up being about the same. I would say about $25 a year for a domain name, and the first prices they show is usually just to sign up, and then the yearly fee goes up. And then Karen asked how often to write a blog post, and I would say about at least once a month, because really what you're doing, the blogs has 2 purposes really. One is to show your customers and clients or members that your website is alive and you have new information, but the other one is actually to show the search engine optimization out there, because every time you post something new, you kind of get a little bit up on the ranking, because the search engines realize that this is a website with content. So the content in the blog goes with what's read, what is on the rest of the website, and it's updated on a regular basis. So if you have something to say weekly, sure, go for it, but at least once a month is my recommendation.
Excellent. All right. Well, with that, let's move on to talking about the different platform options. So many choices out there, and there's no right or wrong answer. It kind of depends on the kind of business that you have, how much money you want to spend, how much time you have to put into it, and how much technical expertise you might personally have. So I'll let Katrine talk you through some of the options.
Yeah, so here is in marketing, we use WordPress. It is the biggest platform. It's an independent platform. And with that, you can add any kind of, you can do anything with it really, because it's really a platform just like a cell phone, I would say. With a cell phone, you can add apps to it, so it can do all kind of things. In a WordPress site, you are adding plugins that can do different things. There are plugins that create fancy slideshows. There are plugins that take online forms. There are plugins that makes it e-commerce. There are a lot of those. And the second one is package templates. And those are websites. And we're going to look at one of those today. And that could be, I'm going to take it. Hang on, give me the name. It's here. So those typical ones of those are Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, GoDaddy Builder. Someone talked about one called Ghost here. They are usually have everything in one, and it is simple. It all depends on how used you are to work with internet and with images and webs, but it has a template and it gives you a lot of the information, but you can never do exactly what you want because it's built on templates, and a page might have a picture here and text here, and then you say, oh, I want the text higher up and the image further down, and I want something behind, and you know, it can't do any of those fancy things. The next ones are platforms that are built for e-commerce. One of the biggest one out there is called Shopify. So if you sign up on that, you already have your platform. It has a built-in web page with a home page. You can show your product. It helps you set it up with sales tax and all of those things. And the last one is membership platforms, websites that really takes care of, you have members that can sign up, can log in, can pay their dues, can see member-only things. And those are some of them, those four are the most common groups of websites. So,
Katrina, you
yeah.
have access to advance your own slides, but let me know if you need help.
Yes. Okay. So we have only a few minutes left. So I thought I was going to show this one with the package templates. So I went into GoDaddy and see if I can see it. There we are. So I went into GoDaddy. They have something called website and hosting. I clicked on website builder. I was going to start a basic website. You see, they have other options. I was saying, I'm going to do one for an RV park, just as an example. And then they asked me questions. So I gave it the name of it. I gave the phone number and email. In this case, I didn't give a physical address. I could have done that. And then actually it just took like 30 seconds. The page is gray like this. And then suddenly I have a website in front of me. And I'm going to show you what that looks like as soon as I can take over the screen. So bear with me. Host disabled, participate sharing. So you need to give me access.
All right. Sorry, this is our first time doing this. And I am making you the host now.
All right. Okay. Excellent. So we're going to go to this one. I'm sorry, I had two screens, so I'm going to look at the same. So what happened after I filled out those few pages, this pops up. Okay, look at it. I mean, if we scroll down, it really looks like a website, you know, so it has a lot of the things that a regular website is. Only one page, but very quickly can I go in and make changes. So the first thing I would do on this one is like, this doesn't look like Florida. This is obviously somewhere in Utah. So I can click on it, and there is something to the right that talks about cover media. I click on it. I can change how it shows up, but I'm actually going to change images. They give me a couple of options. So I
don't think that our viewers are able to see what you're sharing. Can you try your share screen option again?
Okay, hang on. So I'm going to click on share. Now
there it goes. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. So again, this is what shows up. And of course, this background doesn't work. So I simply click on the background in the right column. I get the different options. I click on cover media. I'm saying I'm going to change it, and they give me a couple of options that is free, that we can use, and I take one that is better for Florida. If I have something that I want to change in the text, I can always go in here and I can change the text, and I can type in "spend the winter with us in sunny Florida." So you can see I can make changes on this page and make it my own. I can scroll down. There are, again, when it comes to our amenity, of course, here you would fill out what kind of amenities you have. This is what it says here is just text that anyone can use. If you have your own images, you can simply click on the image, change image, and then you can add new images in here. So you can take any images you have. I end up in a different folder with images here, but you can take any images you have on your hard drive and upload them. So the more photos you have that are yours, then of course you can use them. And the next thing that usually is needed is that you will want more pages. So up to the right, it says add and add new page. And they already, for example, they already have a couple of pages prepared for me. I can do a blank page, but I also can do a contact page where they have most of the sections that a contact page usually need for it. But you can also always go in and do another page that is a blank page. Let me see here. I'm going to do that. New page, blank, create page. And with this, you can do whatever you want in here. So we have created a new page, and now we can add different sections in here. And you actually simply click on here and you can add different kinds of sections. I'm not an expert on this because we use in WordPress, but this is how you can go in and edit and make your own website. One of the things you want to do always is to, I need to go back to the home page here. You always want to keep an eye on what it's going to look like on a mobile. So this is what the page here looks like on a desktop, but you can also see what it's going to look like on a mobile. And right away, we can see that it's hard to see the text here because we have an image with a white object in the back. So therefore, you would go in and make edits and changes to it. So this is general, and then you click on publish, and then there are help sections on how to set this up and how to connect it with your domain name and everything. So that was a quick preview on how that's done. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to let you take over and do
Great.
the slides again.
Thank you so much, Katrine. Let's see if I can share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to have to make me the host again.
All right, okay. Make host. There we are. Okay, we had the one called make co-host. We could have done that from the beginning.
We'll do that for next time.
Yeah.
So just a quick review. Thank you so much for that, Katrina. I think it's really helpful for people kind of see in real time what it could look like. So by way of review, you're going to start by purchasing your domain name. You can purchase it for like a year or 2 years. And as Katrina said, very important that you don't let anyone else or any other service purchase it on your behalf. You want to make sure that you are the owner of it. And then you're going to set up your email. So I'm not, Dixie@gmail.com, but I'm Dixie@easymarketing.com. That really helps legitimize your business. It's going to help with your email marketing, and it's going to help prevent fraud. My 13-year-old son could go, make an email, a Gmail that pretended to be your business, your cookie business, or, whatever. He could say, Jackson at Great Cookies. But when you have the domain name, then people know, okay, these two are linked together. We know who it's coming from. You're going to decide on what your call to action is going to be. So what's the purpose of your website? What do you want people to do when they visit? Create yourself a simple Word document to get all the different types of content lined up for your different pages. You're going to either look for images or hire a photographer. And remember, these need to be images that you have the rights to use. So you've either purchased them or you've taken them yourself. We're not going to borrow images off Google. Those are somebody else's intellectual property. That will get you in trouble. And then decide, okay, do I have the time, money, expertise? Am I going to do it myself with one of these templates like Katrine just showed you? Or do I need to hire a web designer? Or there's kind of like a middle of the road option that we don't talk about too much, where maybe you've already designed a website and you need someone to take a look at it for you. Sometimes designers like us will provide what we call an audit service, where we'll, charge you for a couple hours of our time to go in and audit your website and say, this looks great, this needs help, this is going to get you in trouble, and give you some recommendations on how you can make it better. And then it's up to you to decide, are those things that I can implement myself, or do I need to hire somebody to make some improvements?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the process that you would go to get your website off the ground. Great. So I think we've come to the end. Are there more questions? Let's see here. I'm looking for your question box. Now is the time. I'm going to show you information about our next webinar, but if you have questions, feel free to type them in real fast before we go. So we do these every month. They're always free. Our next webinar, we're going to shift and talk about my favorite topic, social media, and really how to use that to grow your business. So we invite you to come back for that, to be same time, same place. And then I'm going to give you our contact information. If you have any questions, we're only a phone call away, or feel free to email us. We do respond to every single one. And thank you for joining us. Any more questions, Katrina?
No, I get nice thank yous, but that's it.
Okay, great. Well, you've been a great audience, and we will see you back next month. Thanks again.